to get our first farm animals, and like Emma said, it is going to be a surprise. So we're having fun with the anticipation. It is a dreary day, and we're having to drive quite a ways out through lots of construction and nasty stuff. But the point is that we're gonna get there and we're gonna get them, and we are super excited. How excited are we?
Really? Actually, I don't know.
We finally have our first farm animal. Yay! So I'm sitting in my car right now. Hopefully the AC is not too loud because it's really hot. But before I do the big reveal, we have a story to tell. And the baby really wants me, the kids want me, so I'm trying to get like that 5 minutes to be able to tell y'all the story so I can finish editing the video and show you all the fabulousness of our new farm animal. But anyway, I'm wasting time. So we went on Saturday and we got our first farm animal. We were super excited. We drove a little over an hour and a half to go and get them. And when we went to pick them up, everything went smooth as butter. We got them in the crates okay. They did the ride on the ride home, or actually to the ride to the property, which is like 2 hours and 15 minutes further out. They did fantastic. We pulled up on the property. We got them unloaded. Everything was going fine. One of my neighbors pulled up and I was like holding one of them and I was showing her, and then I got it in the property, and we're sitting there talking, and I watched this whole thing unfold right before my eyes. My 10-year-old was very slowly going towards my 10-year-old was very slowly going towards the animals and she was very slowly going towards them, wanting to pet them. And she kind of got them, we have an electric fence that's super hot all the way around, and she kind of got them pinned up against the fence. They had touched it with their nose. They were afraid of the fence. So they just kind of were like standing there, didn't know what to do because they didn't want to go through the fence, but you know, the 10-year-old was like encroaching. And then my 5-year-old just decides to rush them. And when she rushed them, they turned towards the fence, zapped their noses, turned towards her, and decided that the fence was probably less dangerous than my 5-year-old, and proceeded to try to barrel through the fence. One of them actually kind of got stuck for a second around the neck, and I really felt bad, but it got out. And now we had 6 young farm animals barreling down our road. So luckily, my neighbor that I was talking to, she has a farm and she has farm animals, and she knew what to do to like step into action. And so we're trying to corral them. And then my other neighbor, he is coming down the road, like coming back on his 4-wheeler. So he starts trying to help us, and he's like going back and forth, trying to keep them from going further down the road. And then my neighbor and I, we're trying to like corral them back towards the property. But every time they would get close enough to see the fence, they would bolt in the other direction. And there was one animal specifically that kept turning around and bolting, and then the rest of them would follow her. So we've already named her Trouble. But so we were trying to corral them back. It was not working. Every time we thought we were making progress, that one would decide never mind, and it would try to bolt, and then they would all follow her. So then my neighbor, she decided we needed reinforcement. So she went back and she was getting her sister and her son to help us. And while she was doing that, I was petting her goats, which the animals that we got are not goats. But I noticed that when her goats were coming towards me for me to pet them, that our farm animals started wanting to come that way. And so I was noticing that every time they would bolt, they were actually going back to the pen where she had her goats. So when she came back, I suggested that maybe if she got one of her goats on a leash, that we could maybe use the goat to lead our farm animals towards our farm area. And so she did that, and it worked pretty well. It did definitely gained trust of the animals, and they were willing to go a little bit further. Another thing that really helped was that her son was able to actually catch 2 of them. I don't know how he did it, but he was actually able to catch 2 of them. And so they brought the crate onto the property, and then they put these 2 animals in the crate, and then we just steady worked on like trying to corral them in there. And between her goat being on the property and these other 2 calling for them, we finally did it. And it just felt like victory. I mean, you know, all of these things are going through my head, and there was so many times I thought to myself when one would bolt and I would watch them going down the road, I'm like, that's it, we're done. First time we try to get farm animals and they're gone, and that's it, and we'll never get them back. It was crazy. And I kept thinking to myself, because the first animals that we wanted to get, really wanted them to be pigs. So now you know it's not goats, and now you know it's not pigs, but I really wanted it to be pigs. And I've heard a lot of stories about how, you know, pigs get out easily, they need to be trained to the wire. There was all these things that I thought, you know, I probably need a little bit more, at least confidence, if not experience, before we go for the pigs. And I remember thinking to myself several times, thank God we didn't get the pigs. Because we definitely would have probably never got them back. I don't know, maybe we would have. But we did get them back. Our neighbors were amazing. I'm sure they're not as excited that we're moving in now as they were before this incident, but hopefully we can recover those relationships. But so what we did, we ended up, because now they were extra, what's the word? They were extra skittish now. And we needed to get them to the middle of the property so that we had them by the guineas, because they were actually raised with guineas. So I did feel like if we can get them by the guineas, then they would be more comfortable. And then my neighbor that has a lot of experience with farm animals, she also said, get your crates by the guineas and then just leave them crated for the night or a couple of days, and then they'll start to recognize and feel like that's home. So we left the 2 crated that we got into the crate, and we let the other 4 just kind of be there. But it took a long time for us to get those 4 corralled towards the middle of the property, because Trouble was not one of the ones that was crated. And she wanted to continue to do the whole turnaround and go in the other direction. So every time we'd get them a little bit further and a little bit further, she'd go, nope, not doing it, and she would bolt. And then they would all be like, wait, and they would follow her. I wish she would have been the one that was crated, because that probably would have saved us a lot of trouble by creating trouble. But anyway, we finally got them to the middle, and so we left the 2 that were crated, and then we let the other 4 just kind of be around them, and they stayed there the rest of the day. They stayed there that night. The next morning they were still there, so we decided to go ahead and let the other 2 out and see what they did. Same thing, they stayed there, they stayed close, they did great, really. But we did end up crating them last night, because last night just happens to have been the 4th of July. I don't know when I'll finish editing this video, so I don't know what today is. You're watching this in relation to that. But yesterday was the 4th of July, and so per my friends, my neighbor's recommendation, we went ahead and locked them up again. And I believe actually the guy that we got them from also suggested that, but because I feel like we might have had a few people that were suggesting that to us, so we did that just so the fireworks wouldn't freak them out and they wouldn't bolt like that again. So we were watching the camera constantly, and they weren't getting much sleep because there was a lot of commotion and stuff that was going on, but they did great. And this morning we went out there and we let them out, and they were doing wonderful. So I got lots of footage of that. We've given them some grain, we've given them some hay. They have been eating oak. They've been eating palmetto. I don't think I've seen them eating any of the huckleberry, either one of the huckleberry that we have out there. But for the most part, believe it or not, they have really been loving the palmetto. They've been going crazy after it. Now, I will say that most of the plant, the forage that we have out there is only a couple of months old because we had the whole entire property mulched down, and now all of that is starting to grow up new, so it's nice and fresh. So maybe they like fresh palmetto, I'm not really sure, but they are tearing off like a whole blade and then just sitting there and munching it in. So it's been exciting. We built them a shelter yesterday. We've got a DIY video coming on that, and I will stop gabbing and I will go ahead and show you our new farm animal.
No, not all of them. We're just getting 4.
Look at the kitty. Oh. So now you know, we have sheep. Yay! So we're really excited about the sheep. They are going to clear this property. I've heard a lot of opinions over this way and opinions over that way. And so we just decided to go for it and see what happens. And they are already just going crazy out there and they're loving it. So I'm really excited about that. The black one is a ram, and I don't know if you guys could really see the paint on the back of their backs, but the one that has yellow paint on the back is also a ram. So we're not really sure, which way we're going to go with that, because I'm thinking it would be really cool to save the ram for breeding. I think it would be really cool to have sheep that have a little bit of different markings and things like that in them, because it would help for identification purposes, and it would just look neat. So we just have to wait, I guess, and see what y'all say, what the opinions are that come along. We've got like a year, I think, before we really have to make that decision. So they are Katahdin sheep. They have a little bit of St. Augustine in them. Supposedly the guy that we got them from raises them to be parasite resistant, which is really what we were hoping for, because sheep actually tend to be very susceptible to parasites. So getting ones that are bred for parasite resistant really helps with their health and keeping them out there on the farm and not having to give them a whole bunch of stuff. And we might end up having to, but we're gonna try not to. And that's that. So thanks for watching. We will start sharing video of them as they're growing. They were born the beginning, all of the white ones were born the beginning of April. The black ram was born February, I believe. So we've got the white ones are coming up on 3 months. The ram is February, March, April, May, June, July, 5 months, I guess, through like 4.5 months. So we'll start sharing video updates on them and how they're doing. The Keats actually love the sheep shelter, which I think is hilarious. And that's it. So I hope you enjoyed. Thanks for watching, and I hope you guys are all having a very blessed day, and we'll see you next time. Bye.